Hello! I am filming this several months in advance of when this book comes out, so this is a weird location that gives you sort of nostalgia. Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be doing a review over the book Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. This book comes out at the beginning of January. Let me give you an exact date on that. January 5th. Alexandra Bracken is the author of the Darkest Minds trilogy, which is dystopian. I wasn't the hugest fan, but Disney Hyperion sent me this review copy. So first of all, thank you to Disney Hyperion for sending this my way. I wasn't sure if I was going to be picking this one up. I didn't really like The Darkest Minds that much, and it wasn't that it was a bad series per se. I just don't like Alexandra Bracken's writing. Something about it puts me to sleep. I just could not finish that trilogy whatsoever, and I only made it to book 2. I skim read the entire second book, was not having it. Sorry. Is that better? So going into this book, I was super hesitant. I had no idea if I would like it. I had no idea if it was going to be better than her other trilogy. I honestly had no idea what it was even about because from the synopsis to the first chapter, it was just really confuzzling. Before I get into that, I'm going to give you a synopsis of this book. So this book follows a girl named Etta and a boy named Nicholas. All I'm going to say is this is about these two people meeting via time travel. Etta is from 2015 and Nicholas is from the 1700s. I guess the best way to describe this is that a family heirloom was lost and this girl discovers that she can time travel. It's one of those I have a power in discovery type books, and then she's employed to go find that lost item that is super valuable. There's corruption, there's family dynamic villains. Time travel, it was all over the place, but if that sounds interesting to you, you might like it. But I gave this book 1 star. Let's just get on to my thoughts about this book. I want to give this book a little bit of credit because I can see how other people would like it, but I don't feel like that's a reason to give it a higher rating because I didn't like it, so why would I rate it higher just because I think someone else might like it? Anyway, at the very beginning of this book, I told you earlier, I just could not get into it. From the synopsis being vague to the first chapter and the epilogue not having a lot of information, there's no hook to this story. I was so bored in the beginning. If I saw this book in a bookstore, I would go, oh, Alexandra Bracken, then I'd flip open the flap and read the synopsis and put it back because it didn't entrance me. I didn't feel drawn to the storyline. I just read it because I owned it and I wanted to review it. That might have been the first red flag that I probably wasn't going to enjoy it that much, but I was going in with high hopes that I would like it more than I liked The Darkest Minds, which I didn't like this one. I liked it worse. For the first 150 or so pages, I was just waiting for something to happen. I wasn't bored, but really nothing was going on. I was still trying to figure out the world, and it got pretty confusing toward the middle, but for the first half, I was reading everything. I was just, you know, troopering is not a word, along, and just absorbing everything, getting to know everyone. I just realized as I was in the middle of it, I'm not loving this book. Not a lot happens in the first half, which is pretty frustrating. The main thing that brings this book down for me is that the writing is not my favorite. I mean, it's good, like, it's pretty, I don't know how to really explain it, but I like the vocabulary she uses, but there's just so much fluff. Every single paragraph has inner monologue and rhetorical questions and just non-dialogue thinking that just drags the book's pace down, and it gets so boring. There's so much fluff. I ended up reading the last half of this, just skimming it for dialogue, and I didn't miss anything. This is almost a 500-page book, and I think the length of it could have been cut in half if some editor had told her that all this extra writing was not necessary for the story, because all it is her saying something and then being like, is this right? Is this who I am? What will happen after this? And what about the— and it's like, it gets so irritating. The plot is not explained well either. I'm not the biggest fan of time travel stories just because I feel like there's too many plot holes, and I've never read a good time travel book that made me go, wow. I think part of that might be, and maybe part of the reason I didn't like this as much, is because I'm not the biggest fan of historical fiction. If it's not World War II, I'm kind of like, because I don't really mess with that genre. It's not the most interesting to me. And this book really has its roots in historical fiction. There's several different locations, so if you're into historical fiction and you like things taking place in very abstract, well not abstract, but less common places that books take place, you might enjoy this once again. But I was bored skimming it, things happened so fast, but the point of what I'm saying here is the time travel is not explained well, and also several things about the book itself, like what the synopsis is based off of, we don't get a great explanation. Such as, in the synopsis it mentions the family Ironwood, which is the family that employs her to find this artifact thing, but we don't really get a backstory on Ironwood. It's talking about how powerful and significant they are, and it's telling you all about the family members of that family, and I didn't feel any connection. Like, I didn't understand why they were relevant for a good portion of the book. This book just ended up being too intricate. There were too many facets to it that it couldn't have been explained well. Maybe Alexandra wasted her time writing too much inner monologue instead of giving us descriptions of the things that we need to know. This book just didn't offer any twists and turns. I was never excited reading it again. I was really bored. The characters were just okay. They were just normal characters to me that didn't stand out whatsoever. I think one interesting thing that caught me off guard, maybe like one of the only good things about this book, is that the main guy is half black, which was a good surprise thrown in. But then again, I might be wrong, but part of me feels it's historical fiction in the 1700s and he's the captain of a ship, and I was like, but would he be, like, I don't know how historically accurate that is because he's half black, so I don't know. I just did not have a good time reading this book. There were very few things that I could point out and go, oh, that was cool. For the most part, I just did not enjoy it. I'm trying to justify ways I could raise the rating from 1 star, but there's almost nothing that was good about this book to me. So, once again, this review might not influence you because I have a very particular reasons for not liking this. Is there lipstick on my teeth again? I'll say, if you didn't like the writing of The Darkest Minds, don't get this, because it's the same, it's boring, it's fluff, even though I know I just said a bunch of bad things about it. It's a book that I can see other people enjoying, it just was not for me. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I will link Passenger on both Amazon and Goodreads down below. Hope you all are having a wonderful life. Goodbye!